With Pokemon Legends just dropping, I think it's only right we go compare it to, well, all the other Pokemon games. So today we're going to be looking at every mainline Pokemon game, and we're going to basically be ranking them on which ones are the best, what is the best, and all of that. I was going to do just Switch games, but I thought we might as well do all of them because the Switch doesn't really have much to go off of, and I think that'd be a pretty short video. So with that being said, my name is Birthroad, and this is our official Pokemon game ranking, I guess. Alright, so our thing has been jumbled up down here, but that's besides the point. We're going to get started with red, green, and blue. Now, obviously, these games were missing quite a lot of the stuff we have nowadays. Like, shinies didn't even exist in this game, but it started Pokemon, right? So, for that reason, it has to be good, just because it gave us such a crazy, series of games. But it's not going to go into best games, obviously, just because it's just missing so much, but it started off Pokemon, so it's got to be considered good. Next, we have Yellow, which I am going to rank separately because it is a little bit different. And honestly, I'm going to put it in mid because, yes, it came out, shortly after, or maybe even at the same time as the other ones, but, even gameplay-wise, it's just not as good, and it definitely doesn't hold the same value as Red, Blue, and Green, because those kind of started Pokemon. Yellow, I feel like, even if it did, you could consider it there, but with Pikachu being the starter in that one, or I believe it's been a long time since I played him. I believe he is the only starter in that game, so that does make the game slightly worse. Next, we have the original Gold and Silver. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really played these much, and I think for good reason. If you're going to play Gold and Silver, you play Heart Gold, you play Soul Silver. So honestly, they aren't bad games, I'm going to be honest, but I still don't believe shinies existed quite yet. I don't believe it was until Crystal that shinies were put into the game, although I could be wrong. Someone correct me if I am, I do apologize. But I'm going off the fact I still don't think shinies were in the game yet, so I think I'm going to put it in not so good, especially because, again, this is one that's still missing a lot of stuff that hasn't been added to the game yet, so I'm going to put it in not so good, especially when you see the remakes. It's kind of hard to rank it anywhere else. After Gold and Silver, we do have Crystal, which I actually really like Crystal a lot. Now, I think I am just going to put it in good. I personally enjoy it over Red, Blue, and Green for obvious reasons. Crystal obviously was the first game with shinies. Now, although they are very hard to distinguish because the game is pretty much in black and white, it is super fun. I actually really enjoy Crystal. I like the story of Crystal as well. I thought it was really, really fun, and so I enjoy it personally a lot. I think it's a pretty good game. What else I would enjoy is if you guys hit the subscribe button. Only 2% of you guys that watch my videos are subbed, which is kind of crazy. If you enjoy the content, just subscribe. You can always unsubscribe later, right? Also, I would like to mention real quick, my Discord's in the description too. Once we hit 50 members in there, I'm going to be doing a video with you guys. So if you guys want to be in a video, join the Discord, right? With that being said, let's get back to our list. After Crystal, we have Ruby and Sapphire. Now, I actually do enjoy these games quite a bit. I think they're pretty fun, but I don't really think they added much to Pokemon. I could be wrong. Like I said, it's been a while since I've played these, but I think I'm going to put it in mid, probably just ahead of the yellow version. They're decent games. I've quite enjoyed them, but there's just not much going on there. Next, we have Fire Red and Leaf Green. So those versions, I think they are definitely better, right? I'm tempted to put... Let me think about this for a sec. Honestly, after thinking about it for a while, I'm going to put it in best games. This is a game I have played, but again, it has been a while. I probably should have played all these just to refresh myself, but after thinking about it, I really enjoyed Fire Red, and I believe I've actually beat it multiple times, so that just kind of goes to show. I don't think I've ever played Leaf Green, I'm going to be honest, but I've played Fire Red quite a few times, and I do enjoy it. I think it is really fun. Next, we have Pokemon Emerald, which is basically just like the better version of Sapphire and Ruby. I'm going to put it in good games. I'm not going to put it ahead of Red, though. I think those games obviously got a lot better as time went on with the remakes and stuff, but that's besides the point. Also, if you're wondering where a lot of this gameplay comes from, I do stream on Twitch. Now, I don't stream Pokemon quite that often, but I do stream Pokemon every now and then. So, if you want to stop by and say hi, I do stream every single day. That's also in the description. Next, we have Diamond and Pearl. Honestly, just like a classic game from my childhood, but let's be honest, Diamond and Pearl has a lot of issues in the game, but it's just so much fun. There's so much to do. That some of the best, honestly, designs in Pokemon we've ever got. It is such a nostalgic game, but I think I can't put it anywhere other than mid. I'll put it at the top of mid just for nostalgia, but there is actually so much wrong with that game. But don't worry, because next we have Pokemon Platinum, which pretty much fixes all these issues, and that's going to go in the best game. I'm going to put it ahead of Fire Red. It's kind of crazy how if they just spent like a couple more months on the game, they probably could have, come out with a perfect release off of that. But they fixed it with Pokemon Platinum, so I think it's going to go into best games. Also, the shiny hunting in that game is one of my favorites personally. I actually really enjoy the radar. Now, obviously, in the remakes, the radar is a lot easier, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's harder, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's easier, but I actually do enjoy Diamond and Pearl a lot, and Platinum. Those are, the first real Pokemon games I ever played. Obviously, I've heard of Pokemon before that, but I was really young when those came out, and I played those, and man, that was so much fun. I really enjoyed those games a lot. Also, the story in that game is actually really good. I'm not a guy that really plays Pokemon for story, I'm not gonna lie, but I really enjoyed the story in Diamond and Pearl. I think it's really fun. I think you have good gym leaders in that game. You have good trainers as well. There's actually a lot to do in that game, and I just really enjoy it. Next, we have Heart Gold and Soul Silver. These are, obviously, as you can imagine, the next games I played, because if I started with Diamond and Pearl, then obviously I'm going to move on. And these games have done something that just still hasn't been replicated to this day. Now, if you're a real OG to my channel, or you used to watch me stream, I actually did a Soul Silver Nuzlocke on here a while back, and it was really fun. I'm not gonna lie, I actually did enjoy it, and I'm going to put that at the top as of now, because those games are just super enjoyable. Like, they are, I don't know how, but when those games drop, even to this day when you go play them, there's just something about them that just cannot be redone. I don't know. Like, the reason why we put gold and not so good games is because the remake is so good, it makes the original look like they didn't even try. Like, it's arguably the best Pokemon game ever. Now, it's not my favorite, but it's probably number 2, I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoy Soul Silver and Heart Gold. Those are incredible games, and obviously those were the first games to allow Pokemon to follow you, which was awesome as well. The shiny hunting in that game was good. The story in that game was good. The legendaries were obviously good. The trainers, the gym leaders, the champion were good. I mean, I just don't see anything wrong with that game. And the gameplay flow itself was also very good, very smooth, where they can't even get that right in a lot of the newer games. So that just goes to show how much of a masterpiece Heart Gold and Soul Silver was. It was super, super enjoyable. Next, we have the original Black and White. Now, for me, the original Black and White were not as good as the remakes, although I still think they were solid games. I would probably put them behind Emerald. I still think they were decent just because they added, like, in my opinion, the best generation of Pokemon, right? I thought the shiny hunting methods in the game were decent, and the champions and stuff and trainers were pretty good. It's just you kind of get lost, or not lost because it's not confusing, but the story's just not quite as good, and the game flow was just not as good quite yet. But I thought it was a really fun game and super, super enjoyable. But again, it's kind of like the Heart Gold and Soul Silver. The remakes are just that much better that it's kind of hard to rank them any higher. And immediately after, we have the remakes, and in my opinion, probably the best Pokemon game ever. Black 2 and White 2, I just don't... I haven't enjoyed a Pokemon game more than those two. I've probably beat Black 2 at least like 15 times. I enjoy that game so much. I would just reset over and over and over again and keep playing. I enjoyed the game so much that I had a gift Pokemon. I can't remember what. I want to say it was Victini or something, but I got from maybe GameStop or something, or the online. I'm not 100% sure. And I still reset the game because I love the game so much that I want to play. Yes, I lost that Victini or whatever it was. I can't remember the exact Pokemon I got from the gift, but I lost it because I wanted to play it again. I know for sure I had a Meloetta as well. So yeah, that just goes to show how much I enjoyed this game. And I was young, so I didn't really know about emulators or anything. So I was like, I don't care, man. I'm going to restart. I don't care. It's sad to lose everything, but I'm going to restart. I enjoyed these games, or this game, so much. It is by far my favorite Pokemon. I think everything is perfect. The only thing I would have liked is if the Pokemon followed you like in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. But I think the shiny hunting in this game is really, really good. I think the story is really, really good. It has probably some of the coolest characters in all of Pokemon, like N and Getsis, like just super enjoyable. The best box legendaries ever, in my opinion. Super duper good box legendaries. Everything about this game was awesome, and I wish, and I can't wait for the remakes. I know they're remaking Black and White again, apparently, or they teased it or whatever. I can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome. I just hope they don't butcher it. And I'm not saying they really butchered any remakes, because most of the remakes have been really good. I just don't want them to be like, oh, we're going to do the Black and White remake. We're just going to basically make it Hisuian or something like that, you know. I don't think they're going to, but like what they did with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they added a bunch of megas to that. I don't want megas in Black and White. I don't like them, and we'll get to that in a moment, but we're going to move on to now X and Y. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this because I know a lot of people like these games. I hate X and Y. I actually think it is one of the worst Pokemon games. Now, gameplay-wise, it's actually pretty solid, but my complaint is in a lot of things. I don't really like the characters. I don't really like the story. I don't like the legendaries. I think the little amount of Pokemon they added kind of suck. I think Megas are probably the worst thing to ever be added to Pokemon. I'm going to be honest, because I hate them. Especially back then. I don't care as much anymore, but back then, I was really big in battling. I liked doing online battling and stuff like that, and when you had to worry about Megas and online battling and doing all that other stuff, it was stupid. I hated it. I hated it so much. It is the most broken thing ever added in Pokemon, and it made the games so easy, so unenjoyable. I hated it. I hate them. And also, most of those forms, I hate to break to you guys, they look dumb as hell. I'm going to be honest. I hate them. They are so bad. They are so bad. I can't get over X and Y. Honestly, I feel like that was the downfall of Pokemon. Now, they've had good games since, so I'm not saying like, you know, ever since this game came out, they've sucked. That's not true. But I think ever since this game came out, they've been more accepted into dropping bad games. It's more acceptable for them to drop bad games. But next we have Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now, my biggest knock on this game is the fact that there are Megas, because the story in this game is fantastic. I know it's like the exact same as Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald, but it's like so much better because it's like a combination of the two, right? It is so much fun. Post-game is super fun. We really haven't had anything like that because it was a challenge, but also like super fun, and you could get a lot of stuff. And where the other ones where you can get a lot of stuff are normally pretty easy, like Ultra Sun and as well like Sword and Shield. But Omega Ruby, I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed it. I'm going to put it in good game. I'd probably put it ahead of Crystal. If it wasn't for the Megas, I think it'd be in the best game because it has my favorite shiny hunting methods out of all. Like every single shiny hunting method in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire is absolutely my favorite. I love it so much. And I love the story, I love the characters, I love the Pokemon, but I hate the Megas. It just makes things too easy. I don't enjoy it. It made battling awful. I'm sorry, I just really do not like them, and I think that is probably the worst thing Pokemon's ever released. So, it's going to go on top of good games for me. I can't put it in best games when it has the mechanic I hate the most in it. But now we have Pokemon Sun and Moon. Let's be honest, these are pretty bad. The original Sun and Moon are horrible, so bad that they had to spin the block and basically remake them immediately because they're bad. No good story, no good characters, not a lot of good Pokemon. The legendaries are pretty cool, I will give you that. Gameplay was pretty awful as well. I don't believe the shiny hunting method was that good. I think it was the same as like, or maybe it was fine. I don't remember, but I'm going to be honest because Sun and Moon's not a good game. And I think everybody will agree with that one. That's probably one of the worst Pokemon and often brought up as the worst Pokemon game by a lot of people. Although not my least favorite. And we talked about them spinning the block to make another one. We have Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Immediately way better. The story, I still am not the biggest fan of, but it's a lot better. The gameplay is a lot better. The legendaries are a lot better. The post-game is a lot better. There is a lot more to do in Ultra Sun and Moon, and it just feels like a more complete game where Sun and Moon just was not very good. Now, I did enjoy this game. I'd probably just put it over the original Black and White. I don't want to put it in mid because it's not a mid game, but I almost feel like it does belong in mid. But I think it's actually a good game. I like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. They're pretty fun. The only thing that sucks is, again, the story is not really that good. But I'm not a guy that really plays for story, so that's why it doesn't really affect it that much. But yeah, that's why it's going to go into good game. Now we move on to the Switch. And we start off with arguably the best Switch game, which is Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. We still haven't got a game like this. It's super fun. We're still waiting for like the Let's Go Johto or whatever. It's going to go into best game. I don't think I enjoy it more than any of the other ones in best games, but it is one of the best Pokemon games. It is super fun, super enjoyable. I'm currently doing a shiny only playthrough on it, which is my first playthrough, and I already love this game a lot. It is super duper fun, and I am actually very excited if we ever do get a Let's Go Johto, because these games are really fun. We haven't got anything like them, and I thought the reception of them was fantastic. I don't know why we haven't seen anything like it since. Next we have Sword and Shield, which honestly, another banger. I love Sword and Shield. I'm actually going to put it ahead of Platinum. I think Sword and Shield is the best game to release on the Switch. There is only one negative about this game, and that is that there is no shiny hunting method other than hatching eggs. I mean, there are easy ways to get shinies, but just not ones of your choice. So I do think it is a fantastic game. I thought the story was very good. It was the first game to really tackle like the newer open world. Like, I know Let's Go was kind of open world, but it was really more just 3D than anything. Where Sword and Shield was really like an open world type game. It's not as fluid as some of the newer games, but I thought it was fine. I liked the game a lot. I thought the story was good. I thought the legendaries were good. I thought the Pokemon they added were good. Everything in this game was actually really good. I really enjoyed it a lot. They didn't add any BS mechanic like they try to do in a lot of the other games, and so it was just really enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie. There was also a big reason to play online with other people. This was a game you could play with your friends quite a bit. So I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's one of the best Pokemon games they released, and I think definitely the best game they've released on the Switch. Next we have Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Now I think you're only one of two people on this. A lot of people hate these games. A lot of people like them. Honestly, I'm not really too sure where I put it. Because on one hand, I like the shiny hunting method, but this game is the remastered version of Diamond and Pearl. And unlike Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where they made the game better, they just basically updated the graphics on this game. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to lie. This game still has all the same problems that were in the original Diamond and Pearl, which is why a lot of people hate it. And I understand that. I also think the post-game is pretty boring. I'm not going to lie. There's not much to do post-game. It's boring. The characters are good. The Pokemon are good. But overall, I think the only reason I ever get on this game or return to this game is to just shiny hunt. And that's really the only saving grace it has. I doubt I would ever replay this game. Also, people have their opinions on the art style. Personally, I don't really care, but it's probably my least favorite out of all the games, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to put it in not so good game behind gold, because at least it has the shiny hunting. That's something to come back to. So that is pretty enjoyable. Next we have Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, my take on this game is also, I would say, a little controversial. I think this game is awful. I hated Legends Arceus. I really do not enjoy this game. Not only do I think the story is one of the worst, but I can't even say it. We're gonna I don't want to spoil anything, but out of the two we have left, there's one that makes this story look good. But I don't like the story. I don't like the new forms. I think all the new forms are bad, other than Voltorb. That is the only good one. Especially the legendaries, like that Origin form BS or whatever. It looks awful. It looks awful. The game, honestly, does not run that well, I guess. I mean, it doesn't run bad. Like, there's definitely a game that runs worse. But it doesn't really... I don't know exactly how to explain it. It's too easy. All you do is catch. There's no battling in this game, like, whatsoever. You might battle, like, 5 times and be done with the game. I mean, that might be an exaggeration. You might battle 15 times and be done with the game. That's a little more accurate. The shiny hunting is too easy. It does not feel rewarding whatsoever. Like, I don't feel like I do anything. Like, I just walk and get a shiny. Like, I don't like it. Like I said, I really don't like the forms. I don't like the Pokemon they chose for this area. And I don't like the story. I don't really like the aesthetic of the game. I don't really like much about it at all. I'm going to be honest. I don't really like the game. And so for me, that's why it's going to go in awful games. I don't really see why people enjoy this game that much either. It is way too easy. It's by far the easiest Pokemon game that has ever been released. I don't think you could have more of a cakewalk in a game, which I get. People don't play Pokemon for the challenge, right? But when something is that easy, I don't find it enjoyable personally. I don't see how a lot of people do, because it is like a baby could beat that game. And then also, for a lot of people that like the shiny hunt like me, that's why I play a lot of games. I go back to shiny hunt. Very few do I go back to play, which the ones in best games are probably the only ones I would. But I really go back to shiny hunt a lot. And in that game, yes, it's easy to get shinies. The easiest game to get shinies in. But it's so boring. It's so unrewarding. It is too easy to get shinies, and it is too easy to even get the shinies that you want. It's not even just walking around getting a shiny, because that's really easy. You can just keep changing the date till you get the Pokemon you want. And then guess what? You can just keep going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth, and you'll get that shiny. Like, you can realistically do almost any shiny hunt in this game in less than 15 minutes. It's so easy to get a shiny. It's so unrewarding. I don't enjoy it. It's so unrewarding because it's like you could get a shiny right away and you're not going to be impressed. Like, you're not. Like, if you find a full odd shiny in that game, oh, whatever. If you find a full odd shiny in, like, Black 2, you are jumping off and down the walls because of how good that is. I think it ruined a lot of shiny hunting. It just ruined a lot. I hate that game. I'm going to be honest. But enough of the hate train on Legends Arceus. We have Pokemon Scarlet, which is the worst Pokemon game ever. Absolutely the worst game ever. Story, bad. Pokemon they introduced, there's some good ones, but they're mainly bad, and the reason I say that is because of the, like, past and future forms. Those are awful. There's, like, one good one, which is the Roaring Moon. That's the only one that looks good in my opinion. The rest of them are absolutely awful. I think super lazy as well, honestly, on their part to do something like that. Not a lot of original Pokemon as well added, and the ones that are, I'd say about 50% are good, 50% are bad. So it's honestly not bad for the Pokemon that released, but that's like the only good thing. This game runs awful. It is one of the worst optimized games. It is by far the worst optimized Pokemon game ever, but just gaming in general, it is not optimized for the console it's on. It is awful. It is terrible. Shiny hunting in this game, super boring, super dull. I hate it. I think it is probably the worst shiny hunting. I'd rather just do the Masuda method over and over again on Sword and Shield than do this because it is boring. I don't like it. The best thing about it is that the DLC added a lot of, like, ways to, or not even the DLC. What am I thinking? Yeah, no, the DLC added, like, better ways, I guess, not to shiny hunt, but, like, it added events. That's what I'm trying to say. When the DLC was coming out and stuff, they had a bunch of events. They had events before, but I feel like not as much when the DLC dropped. They had a bunch of shiny events and stuff like that. So that was really cool. Which I also want to mention. I forgot to mention this in Sword and Shield. The also other downside of Sword and Shield that doesn't really put it higher for me is that the fact it added DLC. Now, the Sword and Shield DLC is fantastic, but the Scarlet and Violet DLC just shows why you shouldn't have DLC because it is awful. Now, Pokemon used to be what, like on release, like $30 when it came out. It was relatively cheap, and even if it was $60, it wouldn't be that bad. But now these games cost $70 to get right away, and then you have to pay an extra $30 for the DLC, and all that stuff that comes in the DLC, like Sword and Shield, like I said, can be a little bit of an exception because they actually added quite a lot. But let's look at Scarlet and Violet, which is the game we're talking about, obviously. You pay $100, right, to have this full game, including the DLC. What does the DLC add that other Pokemon games don't have? Nothing. Like, you look at Black 2 and White 2, it has the same post-game content as the DLC of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like, what are we doing here? We are charging almost an extra, what, $70 to get the same games we used to have before. In a game that is optimized horribly, has a horrible shiny hunting method, like, doesn't have much replayability at all. Why are we paying this much for it? I mean, obviously, if you know anything, I mean, you saw the Nintendo Switch 2 sale numbers and stuff. Clearly, Nintendo fans, no offense to you guys, and I'm included in that, just don't have a brain. Because why are we buying Switch 2? But why are we just fine with paying $100 for the same shit we used to get for $30? Now, I get inflation, so I don't mind it being the $70 and you getting everything. But the game should not go up $70 in price for something we were used to getting every time. It's like people forgot that the old Pokemon games had all of this stuff included. It had everything that they added included. Because Pokemon Scarlet and Violet without the DLC has what? 5 legendaries? 5. Which isn't bad. You look at Black 2 and White 2, how many legendaries that game have? Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, how many legendaries that game have? Just the game, no DLC, nothing. Even the old ones, Diamond and Pearl, how many legendaries that game have? Like a lot, and that's a lot of post-game content. And obviously legendaries aren't all post-game content. We look at Scarlet and Violet, there's no post-game content after you beat the game. There's nothing other than the 4 legendaries, which you can have your opinions on. I personally quite like them, but again, that's it. There's nothing to do in post-game after that, other than, oh, I could go rebattle the gyms, but that's it. There's no post-game content. And then you buy the DLC. The part 1 of the DLC is awful. It is terrible. It is so boring. It introduces a bunch of awful Pokemon, some of the worst legendaries ever, actually probably the worst legendaries ever. It introduces the most boring story. You don't do anything in the game except talk, 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 and talk. It is stupid. Now part 2 is a lot better because you do no talking. It's all catching. It's all shiny hunting. It introduces a lot of cool Pokemon, but it runs at like 5 frames a second in certain areas. Like the whole winter area, it looks like a slideshow. The game doesn't even work properly on the one part of the game that is actually good. It is such a bad game. I could go on and on and on about how Scarlet and Violet is the worst Pokemon game ever released. Oh, also the game-breaking bugs as well. Don't even get me started on that. That still haven't been fixed. On day 1 of the game, I discovered a bug that just crashes your entire system, and you can still do it. By the way, they didn't fix it. They don't care. It's just an awful game. But I need to move on, and we can talk about Legends ZA, which just came out. Now, the perception about Legends ZA is very different depending on who you ask. Obviously, I've posted a lot of videos about it, so I've seen a lot of your guys' opinions, and I see a lot of people who think that I don't like the game. I do like the game, but there is a lot of concerns with this game, I guess, for a lot of people. I see a lot of people don't like it, and I think their reasons are completely valid. Like, a lot of people have really valid reasons. They just don't matter as much to me. So, yeah, first we're going to talk about the negatives, because I think there's only 3, and one of them's not really negative. I just feel like it's kind of lazy. And we'll start off with the worst, which I made a whole video about, which is my last video. You guys should go check it out. And that's about the story. This game has the worst story out of any Pokemon game. Like I said, it makes the Legends Arceus story look good. The Legends ZA story is awful. There's nothing good about it, and I'm not going to describe why, because I dropped a video about it, so I'm not going to talk about it, because if there was enough to make a whole video about how bad it was, I definitely don't have time to talk about it here. But just know, the story is awful, and I mean, I'm sure most of you know if you've played it. The next one is the shiny hunting method. The shiny hunting method in this game, which I guess me being also kind of a Roblox YouTuber, I don't know, how that's going right now. But anyway, that's besides the point. This game is just built off macros. That is it. The shiny hunting method in this game is get a macro. Get a USB stick to stick in there and program a macro, because that is all you're doing. And whether you don't use a macro, you're like, oh, I don't use a macro and I shiny hunt. What you're doing is macroable. You can do the door method, which personally I don't enjoy, or you can do the teleport method, which again is just macroable, which those are your only 2 options. Or you just walk around till you get one full odds, which is also very likely. There's no shiny hunting method in this game. And the reason people like the Legends games, like I don't like Legends Arceus, but the reason people like that game is because how easy it is to get shiny Pokemon. And in this game it's easy to get them too, but it is way more boring than Legends Arceus. Now, I will say this makes up though, because the gameplay in this game is actually really fun. The fights are really fun. The characters suck, I'm not going to lie. But, I think just overall the gameplay of just running around that whole open world and the battling and stuff, the catching as well being pretty good. Still, I think it's still a decent game. And that leads me kind of to my third complaint, which this is more like a personal thing. But I don't really like the way to get the shiny charm. I don't think it's necessarily that hard. I do think it's lazy. Battling 1,000 times is ridiculously boring. Now, I saw some people saying like, oh, well, shouldn't it be hard to get? Yes, but no. I like it being hard when it's... I don't know how to explain. It's basically essential in this game, right? The post-game content is the shiny charm, which I kind of understand. That's why they made it so hard, is because after you beat the game, there's not really anything to do other than side quests, which don't give you anything, or get the shiny charm. But the shiny charm's also essential in this game for shiny hunting. It makes the odds so much better, whereas if you want to spawn 10 shinies on your map, which is the limit at one time, without the shiny charm, it might take you, realistically, probably like 2 hours. With the shiny charm, it'll take you like 30 minutes. Like, that is so much better. It is so much better, and you basically need it. But I've seen people do the math, and a lot of them aren't right. Some of them are right. I think it's around 6 hours to do 1,000 battles. It's probably, I'm not saying that. I'm going 6 to 8 hours to do 1,000 battles. Now, like I said, I like the battling system. I think the gameplay is fun, but it's kind of boring doing the same thing for that amount of time. Now, obviously, you don't have to do it all at once, but it just feels the same every time because it's easy, right? Once you beat the game, Your Pokemon are 20 levels higher than everybody. If you don't one-shot everything, you two-shot everything, and you can just sit there the whole night, and it's just mindless. Like, I like the battling when it's tough, when you have to dodge, when you have to do all this and that. It's too easy. It's too easy and too boring. It's just a simulation at that point, because you know you're going to win. You know you'll be fine. It's just going to take hours. And for me, it's like, that's just so lazy, because instead of adding post-game content, which obviously they're going to add to DLC, but again, another reason why DLC suck, because they're removing a core part of Pokemon games. Anyway, that's besides the point. There's nothing to do after you beat the game other than get the shiny charm. Now, it does actually take quite a while to beat this game. I do think this game is one of the longer running main stories. It took me 3 days to beat it. Not 3 days in-game, but 3 actual days, which I probably amassed like 30 hours on the game. Probably took me somewhere between 20 to 30 hours to beat the game. So, actually a very long story. So, you can't complain about that, other than the story is ass. It is so bad. So, yeah, I see why they didn't do as much. Obviously, to make money. And that's the reason why there's no post-game. But the post-game could just be so much better. I'm going to be honest. And because it is the shiny charm, and they made the shiny charm super boring. I think it's going to go in mid games. I'll put it at the top of mid because I am enjoying it. Like, I do enjoy it. I enjoy the gameplay. I enjoy looking around for everything. But there's so much about it that's not... Like, obviously, the worst story ever. It'll never go into best games if you have the worst of something. And it is the worst story out of any Pokemon game. So, it can't go into best. And the reason why I'm not putting it in good, there's 0 post-game other than the shiny charm. And the shiny charm is just a repetition. You're just doing the same thing. Because even after you complete the dex, which is super easy, by the way, the hardest thing is that almost every trade Evo is in the game, which is ridiculous. And the ones that aren't in the game, guess what, have been leaked to come to the DLC. So every trade evolution is in this game, which is annoying. Which means you have to sit in a trade menu for probably, what, like 15 minutes getting it all done. Which, again, isn't hard. It's just tedious. Like, the whole shiny charm grind is tedious. It's not hard. But it is just a little bit annoying. With that being said, this is our final list. Now, normally I'd go full screen and, you know, one-on-one with you guys, but I'll let you guys look at the list. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, join the Discord, right? Check out my streams. I also got my second channel down there, too. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. I'm gonna head out. Peace.